Okay, now we are moving on to expanding societies. So, last activity we discussed the idea of cultures combining and numbers growing in societies. Um, and it happens all the time and it happens everywhere. So, how does it happen? And what is the effect that it has on a society as a whole? So, expanding society. Um, as you continue to learn about how and why societies functions, you grow more and more prepared to increase your involvement. However, you cannot remain stagnant. If you hope to hold sway, you must expand your horizons. So think of it as power in numbers. Right? The more you grow, um, the more metaphoric power you're expected to get. However, the lingering question is, to what degree will you get involved? Will you be an active citizen or active leader? Will you abide by the society's current ethos, or will you attempt to make sweeping changes? Is bigger better? As societies develop, they almost always expand. Physical expansion can occur in terms of population or territory and is relatively easy to track. However, given a country's borders, there is little territory available, barring warfare and conquest. Indeed, being isolated from the global village is increasingly unlikely. So consider India, for example, is a relatively small country, but has one of the largest populations in the world. So how can that affect that country? Um, will they need to expand at some point? Is that pressure being put on the government? Um, etc. Another method for measuring physical expansion is through a population graph, the tool most often used to collect and display this data so that people can ascertain how population sizes, birth and death rates are changing. And we'll look at that on the next slide. But what's important here is consider this question. Cultural expansion, however, is much more difficult to see. Can you think of some ways that cultural expansion could be recognized, right? So, if you have ever been to Toronto, um, you may have gone through little areas of the city, um, blocks and blocks that are managed and operated by particular cultures, right? You've got Little Italy, you've got what is known as Chinatown, right? These cultures have grown into this society and established themselves, right? So this is our population graph. It's pretty standard. You can see that in 2014, we've got these 50 to 54-year-olds. Now, this kind of makes sense as most of these people are baby boomers, which after World War II, when people came back from the war, they just started having lots of babies. Uh, okay. Research journal, write these terms down. Um, they're evidence of whether a society is expanding. So you'll have changing customs, right? Whoa, sorry. There are more customs in North America now over the past few decades. Media changes. What kind of channels are you seeing? I've noticed Hockey Night in Canada and Raptors basketball are now in Punjabi. Um, diversity in ideas, social upheaval, election results. This is a big one. Um, Gaining votes by particular peoples and different methods that politicians would go through to get those votes is interesting. Uh, New laws kind of reminds me of education and when particular cultures are allowed to bring in what we may deem as a weapon, but to them it is a sacred artifact. You have to consider the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, class conflict, technological advancement, replacement traditions, Increased second languages. A lot of schools, education again, will start to create these second language courses. And economic trends. More people coming perhaps creates more business, or perhaps takes jobs. Um, it changes. Okay, I'm going to read this. The medium is the message. This is an important theorist. Canadian educator Marshall McLuhan famously observed that the medium is the message. Basically, this means that the method of communicating can itself be the message. As a shocking example, consider someone who is sent to the electric chair. The medium of the electric chair clearly sends a message. Don't mess around. As he argued in his 1962 book, The Gutenberg Galaxy, The Making of Typographic Man, the global village uses technological advances to compress space, thereby allowing people of different cultures and geographic locale to interact and share ideas. So, I mean, we have social media. We have, and we discussed this in Unit 1, we have applications. Um, a lot of applications that are compressing the space, that are making it easier to understand and see different cultures. The upside to this is that it could lead to greater understanding, equity, and shared information. Well, the downside is that it could increase cultural hegemony, lessening cultural variation. So this will be explained in this bottom one here. In today's society, the media plays an increasingly important role in shaping and developing societies. Indeed, some countries, such as China, have limited the degree to which independent media can operate so as to maintain control over the important societal former. So, this one, increased cultural hegemony, means that the more technology advancements that a culture might be having or making helps increase their power. Um, And if one culture has more power than the next, then you're creating a level system, hegemony. Um, and it's very hard to pull up to that power structure if your country can't afford to create the technology. And in the way of China, they are trying to maintain their power and control by not allowing its citizens to operate certain forms of media, right? There's no Facebook in China. Um, there's a lot of other social apps that aren't allowed to prevent their people from seeing power in other areas. Technological, and this moves us into the determinism. American sociologist Thorstein Veblen coined the phrase technological determinism. The phrase suggests that a society's technology determines its cultures, values, and structures, and even history. So, as previously stated, the more technology you have, it could create more power and create different values. This concept is not new. Evolutionists have long argued that our opposable thumbs permitted technological access, which in turn allowed humans to gain dominance over the world. Likewise, in 1965, Gordon Moore wrote Moore's Law, which accurately predicts that computer power can double roughly every 2 years. Now, take a moment and consider the advances in technology over the last few years. And I don't mean just chasing Pokemon, but I do mean this as well, because we are in the age of integrating technology into our basic needs. The Fitbit comes to mind, right? In order for us to stay healthy or want to stay healthy, we have these devices to motivate us. I had received a gift once of a Nike watch, which you attach a chip into your shoe, and it keeps track of where you've run, how many kilometers, and you plug it in and it updates. A lot of these ideas were at some point or another science fiction are becoming a reality, right? As technology expands, so too does the opportunity to share culture, traditions, ideas, and views. We've discussed that. However, if technological determinism is valid, then is technology humanity's